Hi, this is Trey Passer. Welcome to my review of Crisis on Infinite Earths, Part 3, which aired last night on The Flash. Okay, that's the last part, and this review is going to have spoilers, and that's the last part before we have to wait all the way to January 14th, I believe, for the last two parts. Anyway, this episode, let me first clarify a thing. I think in my last review, I said there were supposed to be four Paragons, and I forgot about Sarah Lance. She was the fourth one. So in this episode, they tell you who the other three are. The other three, and I thought one of those could be Black Lightning, Jefferson Pierce, but it wasn't. It's actually Martian Manhunter, the Flash, Barry Allen, and Raymond Choi. Raymond Choi, right? The new Atom. Okay, those were the three Paragons. So they had to actually they kind of split the teams up to go into individual missions, and they actually brought Diggle back, which I thought was nice, especially since he wasn't there when um, when Oliver died. So they brought him back, and of course he was highly upset that nobody contacted him to let him know that that Oliver died. And so Sarah apologized, and they said that they had to go bring Constantine to help get his soul back. Because once they throw you in the pit and they bring you out, you come back with no soul. So to get you not stop acting crazy, they got to retrieve your soul. So actually, that brought up one of the cameos that people were probably already knew about. They actually brought Lucifer. They brought the actor on there. I know they were saying that there were rumors about it, and then the actor denied it, saying he was just visiting on the set. But obviously, they actually used him. And they had Constantine uh, and and his daughter and Oliver's daughter and Diggle go visit uh, Lucifer on Earth 666, which obviously makes sense. And they visit him, and he actually, since he owes Constantine a favor, he gives him a card and said that when this card runs out, then you go. This card will help you transport you to where his soul is, and you have to get him out before the card vanishes. The image on the card vanishes, or else you're trapped there forever, and he's trapped. So that's one mission. Now they sent Iris and I believe Ralph and Ray Palmer to get the Raymond Choi, the scientist who's the one of the last Paragon. They send them on a mission. Of course, Iris and Barry, they have a little heart to heart and stuff, and he tells her, go on your mission and do your thing. You have the superpower that you're compassionate and all this, yada yada yada. The usual, they have a nice tender moment, and they split off, and then they actually have Cisco. They bring Cisco, like I said, Cisco Ralph and Killer Frost back, onto the Ray Rider, and well, actually, that's when they find out that Lila's missing. Of course, Diggle's upset about that. We said, "Where's his wife?" And he doesn't know, and of course, that the Monitor is basically saying, I should have figured that the Anti-Monitor would use her to do it. That she can, and her ability to transport, she could be anywhere. Okay, but Diggles doesn't have time to worry about that. He has to go off and save rescues Oliver's soul. So they go off on that mission. And then you also have, at the same time, you have Supergirl. She's constantly worried about getting her world back, and she's looking at the Book of Destiny and thinking about it and thinking that maybe if she can figure it out and how to figure out how to use it, she can bring her world back and maybe the other worlds as well. And of course, Kate, aka Batwoman, she's worried about Kara doing something crazy because they even get a warning from Lex Luthor who's saying that if you use that and you do it wrong, you could things could go wacky. And so, of course, Kate, after a little strong arming to Lex Luthor, she's worried. And then we also see that because we remember she took that kryptonite that Bruce had, the Bruce from that, the Bruce that was too far gone that got killed the last episode. She has that kryptonite that he had, so she has it, and she's contemplating about, she's trying to tell Kara not to do this because you don't know what the consequences are going to be if you do this and things go wacky. But Kara's kind of determined to do this, and they kind of have a mini face-off. Okay, but then Kara goes off her way and Kate goes her way. And then we also have Common Superman. He goes off to see if he can slow down and rescue people and stuff. And I'm going to say this one thing because I noticed other people have said this and I noticed it too. Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman. He's just really, really good. And he has a moment with the Lois Lane that's with Tyler Hexton's Lois Lane. He even has a moment with her, and he's just really really killing it is this Kingdom Come Superman. That was one of the best ideas they did, bringing him back to be Kingdom Come Superman, because he's just stepped back into the role of Superman after playing it in Superman Returns so effortlessly, and he just plays the role so well. And really, I know they're not going to do this, but they really, he just kind of, like somebody said, I read in the comments, people talking about it, he really just makes Tyler Hoechlin look, Superman version looks really, really weak, because he's, Brandon Routh has the size, the look. Okay, he's like I say, he's like Christopher Reeve, and I think that was one of the reasons why he got chosen to be in Superman Returns, because he did favor Christopher Reeve, and he just embodies Superman. Brandon Routh just has that look. He has the height, the majestic, and he knows how to act like Superman, and it just really just looks. And I know they're not going to do this, but I really think they should really swap out Supermans. They really should. If they're going to do a Superman series next season, they really need to give Brandon Routh the role and just say, sorry, Tyler, but Brandon Routh was just killing it as Superman, and just do it. I don't know if they, when they watch the dailies back and see this, maybe they see it too and say this. Maybe we should change our mind and just give it to Brandon Routh, since he's leaving Legends anyway, and we're gonna bring the Superman series, just because he already has chemistry with that Lois Lane. Just I'd swap him out. I really would, or either kill Tyler Hoechlin's character off, so his version of Superman, and bring Brandon Routh's version of Superman Kingdom Come, and just give him the part, because he just oozes Superman, and it's just really noticeable, and just really just makes Tyler Hoechlin's Superman look really weak. Okay, and I don't know that we're going to do that, but that's just my opinion about that. But anyway, let's get back to the story. And the other part, which I thought was really interesting, is the part where they bring in Black Lightning, because we actually have Barry, Cisco, Killer Frost. They actually go down to see if they can actually locate the Anti-Monitor, the source of the anti-wave that's coming through. They actually go down to that tunnel that the other Wells found, that we saw in the last episode of Flash, where he actually found the symbols, and he actually got turned into Pariah, okay, by the Anti-Monitor, and he's basically being used by the Anti-Monitor. So they actually find it, and they find the Pariah, and they actually Vibe actually vibes on him, and he finds out how to open up the thing again, and they actually go in. They find that they actually do find the source of the anti-wave, it's going on the machine, and they actually see somebody actually running on the treadmill, and it's actually 90s version of Barry Allen, okay, and they managed to get him off of it and stop it, but they actually need somebody that's strong enough to absorb the power and destroy the machine, and then that's when Pariah brings Black Lightning into the Arrowverse, which I thought was really nice the way they did it. Okay, and he's startled to be one of the warriors, and and they kind of, Pariah explains to him what happened after a little misunderstanding, a little fighting back and forth. Pariah explains to him that he brought him here, that his world was destroyed, and he brought him here because he needs him to help destroy this. But he's, of course, Black Lightning, Jefferson Pierce, is upset because he said, my wife, my family, my daughters, my world is gone, but they managed to convince him to help stop him. And they actually, this is where Barry thinks, okay, this is my part. I can get on the treadmill, because somebody has to get back on the treadmill and power it the reverse way. And Barry's going to get ready to sacrifice himself. And he says his goodbyes to Caitlin. Killer Frost turns back into Caitlin and to Cisco. And before he gets ready to do this, 90s Flash actually, zaps him and tells him that, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give my all. And I think the great thing about using John Wesley Snipes, who of course was 90s Flash, they showed a flashback of him and Tina, which was really a nice callback, because I love that 90s Flash TV show. I actually love that show. I used to watch it all the time, and that was a nice callback. And I like that they actually used the footage from that and used the actress, the footage back from that show and stuff, and them having a moment. I thought it was really nice as he faded away and stuff, and they managed to blow up the machine and stop the anti-wave from destroying Earth 1. And also, I forgot there was one cameo they had in the beginning for Birds of Prey, and that was another failed TV show that they had with the Huntress, Canary, and Oracle, aka Batgirl, that only lasted like one season. And they actually had actors who played Huntress in the beginning of it, and they had her talking to Oracle on the phone. I think that was Dina Meyer. That was the actress who was Oracle, aka Batgirl. And I think that was her voice. I recognized the voice. and they had her, they're talking back and forth, and they lose communications, and then they had, the Huntress fade away. So I thought it was a nice callback having on the show in the beginning of that. And I know Shimmer and Moore was on there as well, and that was a nice callback for that one. Anyway, so after, like I said, what I really liked is, like I said, once they go back to the Wave Rider, they actually, Iris finds out, of course, Barry's still alive, and he tells him it wasn't me that died, it was another Barry, the 90s Barry Allen that actually died. So, of course, Iris relieved, she's sad that he died, the other Barry Allen, but she's happy that her Barry Allen is still alive. I thought it was nice. And they had a nice moment between Barry and Jefferson Pierce, a.k.a. Black Lightning, where they were talking about their respective losses, how he lost his father, and Barry tells him how he lost his mother to his enemy, and how his father gave him hope and stuff, and Jefferson Pierce tells him how he learned those lessons from his father too before he died. And I thought it was a nice moment where they shake hands and they have a nice bonding moment. And there was a nice moment where he comes out and they kind of introduce it. He sees the two Supermen together, and he, because on his world, and I thought what they would do is, because I remember they did mention on Black Lightning during the first season that Supergirl was like a comic book. Like on their world, there was obviously no Superman and Supergirl, but there was a comic book based on Supergirl. So that's why I thought maybe they'd have him meet Supergirl, but alas not. But he did see the two Supermen and was marveled by it. And then he gave a little head nod to Diggle. So another brother, he gave him a head nod. I thought that was nice and stuff. And then we go back to the island where they were trying to rescue Oliver for his soul, and then Oliver jumps out of a tree, his soul all crazy and stuff, and then Diggle kind of talks him down, and so he says hugs Diggle and hugs his daughter Mia, and then they get ready to leave when we get a visit from the Spectre, and he actually says, Oliver, now it's your time to become Spectre. See, this part felt sort of rushed because they rescue him, they free his soul, and they get ready to go back to the Wave Rider, but no, the Spectre shows up and said, no, Oliver, you have to become the Spectre, okay? This protector. And I know in the comic books, Green Lantern becomes the Spectre, but I guess they just changed it around to make it, be Green, make it be Oliver. So, and like I said, he had like a minute to decide, like 30 seconds to decide, and he willingly, says his goodbyes and says, so they go back to the ship without Oliver, and they explain it to Sarah, okay? And then we have that mission where Iris, Ray Palmer, and Ralph go to explain to Raymond Choi that, of course, Raymond Choi knows who Ray Palmer is and how famous he is and stuff, and they kind of have a little bonding moment there. But they actually tell him that we need you to come along and help save the universe because these universes are dying. And of course, at first, he's reluctant. He doesn't want. He says, "I got married and had a baby. I want to, I have to go home and say, and be with my family." And then Iris actually goes to him and explains to him, that the world needs him and stuff, and he convinces him to go, and he goes back with them. And then we have everybody on the ship, and then we find out, there's Lila, aka Harbinger, is still missing. And then she shows up, okay, and then and of course Diggle's happy to see her, and she hugs him for a minute, and then you see her eyes flip, and then she like beats the crap out of Diggle. And then we find out, of course, she's been changed, just like the comic books. She's been set up to kill the Monitor, okay, just like in the comics, okay. And she winds up killing the Monitor. And we see the Anti-Monitor come, and he basically, but before the Monitor leave, he actually sends off the 7 Paragons. He sends them off, to a different location, okay, that the Anti-Monitor can't reach. Okay, and then we see, they're all, and then wondering what happened and where everybody is, and then we see, Kingdom Come Superman. He starts, feeling funny, and then he sort of, and Supergirl kind of catches him, so they kind of recreate that comic cover where she's holding him, and he's like, looks like he's dying and dying. Then all of a sudden, you see him change. He transforms into Lex Luthor, and then you see him pull out the thing, and he crosses off Superman. He wrote in Lex Luthor, so he's actually one of the Paragons. He wrote himself into being one of the Paragons, and so that's how kind of the cliffhanger how it goes off. You see everybody else, the anti-wave starts coming again, and it looks like it destroys the Earth and destroys everybody on the Wave Rider, and you have all these, the 7 Paragons, on this in this location that nobody knows about. You know, wherever the monitor transported them to, that's where they are, and that's how it ends. So that's how part 3 ends on that cliffhanger with the seemingly Earth 1 being destroyed and the Paragons, everybody else on the Wave Rider getting wiped out, except the 7 Paragons. They're on in a different location that we don't know where they are. Okay, and that's how it goes off with the monitor being killed, the Anthony monitor, being triumphant, except he doesn't know where the 7 Paragons are, and that's how it ends. Now, like I said before, this episode felt sort of rushed, especially the Arthur part, because there was just so many missing parts. And I think going forward, what they should do, if they're going to ever do these crossovers again, especially this one that's so ambitious, maybe they should do what they should do. And I know it's kind of hard to do it when they're filming it during the season because they have to do their own shows. Maybe they should film it like 2 weeks before they have to start filming their own individual shows, so that way everything doesn't feel rushed. Because that's what this episode felt rushed. The episode 2, not so much, but this episode felt like there was so many things happening and everything had to kind of speed up to a certain point, especially the Oliver on the getting his soul back. That happened like so fast, and then he had to make a decision to be the Spectre. That happened like within like 5, with him coming back, and then the other Spectre shows up. Come on, that happened like way too fast. Okay, the only part I thought that kind of played out nice was the meeting Black Lightning and them stopping the energy wave, and we sort of knew that 90s Barry is going to be the one Barry Allen was going to be the one to die. That you could see that coming a mile away. That didn't fool anybody. You could see that it was going to be our Barry that's going to die. It was going to be that Barry that was going to die. You could see that coming a mile away. So that was sort of predictable. Okay, and the Kara, and like I said, like a lot of people say, Kara has, or Melissa Benoist, she has chemistry with everyone, and she is making Batwoman look a lot better, acting upside, putting those two together. I think was a good idea because they do have good chemistry, and I think Melissa is helping Ruby Rose be a better actress. Okay, and it's just their scenes click because I think that's mostly because of Melissa Benoist, because she has basically chemistry with everyone. Okay, and she does elevate Batwoman, because I still think Ruby Rose is a horrible actress, but Witchcraft makes her better. Melissa, and they're acting together. They have good scene chemistry together, so I think that's a plus for that. And like I said before, they really should. I know they're never going to do it, but in my personal opinion, they should really reconsider that Superman show and give it to Brandon Routh, and just say either. I know they'll never do this, but maybe kill off Tyler Hoechlin's Superman at the end of Supergirl this season. I would seriously rewrite that and give the role to Brandon Routh, because he kills it as Superman, and he really got a short shrift in Superman Returns because the script was horrible, and he had to act opposite a horrible Lois Lane. Kate Bosworth was a horrible pick to be Lois Lane. That was just horrible. I don't know whoever cast her for Lois Lane that was stupid. They should have never did that. They should have got a better actress. But Brandon Routh got a short end of the stick because he is just killing it as this Kingdom Come Superman version of Superman. He just kills it. He just embodies that. You get that feeling when you watch. I get that same feeling I get when I used to watch Christopher Reeve. He just embodies the role. And Tyler Hoechlin, I'm sorry, you pale in comparison to him. I know that's not a nice thing to say, and it'd be kind of unfair to fire him because of that, but it's just really so obvious when you see them together against each other. It just makes it so blatantly obvious that Brandon Routh should have that part, and it's obvious. Okay, but anyway, but like I said before, they need to. I think they really need to, if they're going to do another crossover again. They really need to maybe film it before the season starts, so that way so it doesn't seem like they're rushing through certain parts. Because I really think that, especially this episode, the 3rd episode, looks like they had to, they sped things up a bit and they had to rush through it instead of letting things flow naturally. And I think, especially for this type of crossover, I think this type of crossover probably deserves not more than 5 parts. It probably deserves like a 10-episode thing, like a mini-series. Okay, because there's so many moving parts and stuff, but you can't do that during the season because you have to film your individual shows. So maybe, like I said, before the season, they should get together, the showrunners, and come up with it and say, okay, plot it all out and say, okay, it's going to take, let's say, 8 episodes to do this, to plot it all. So let's film it like 2 or 3 weeks before the regular season starts, and I think it would just work better that way. It would just flow better, and then you could just have when the shows go on winter break, just play the crossover and during that, and then and let it play out naturally, okay, over like a course of a week, and I think it would be better to do it that way. And that's just my opinion about that. Anyway, what I'm looking forward to, besides, like I said, one of the things I really liked was Jefferson's and Barry Allen's talk together and stuff. And what I want to see in the fourth and fifth parts, because I know what's going to happen. They're gonna run it reversing and bring in some of those Earths back, like Jefferson's Earth. They're gonna bring back. They're gonna bring Supergirl's 38 Earth 38 back. They're gonna bring Earth 1 back, of course, obviously. So I think not all the Earths will come back, but I think that's the Earths for the the main characters that have their own shows. Their Earths will come back, but I would love to see them on the same Earths. That would be fantastic to me. Okay, and I want to see Black Lightning meet Supergirl because of what I said about them mentioning Supergirl during season 1. So I want to see them actually meet her. Okay, and I do want to see. I know what's going to happen with Oliver. Oliver is going to reunite with Felicity and then go off, which I think is going to be such a tear-jerking moment. But I think that's going to happen. Okay, because I heard they brought they're going to bring her back, the actress, just for that, and then I'll wrap up Oliver's story. Lex Luthor will get defeated. He'll help ultimately. He'll help the heroes, and he'll go to jail, all that other stuff. But again, I like John Cryer. He's like a Weasley Lex Luthor, but he does play the part well. Okay, and what else I think is going to happen? Like I said, all the other Earths will come back, just to, for our main characters. But I'm trying to think what else. I think what's going to happen. Okay, that's right. That's right. What's going to be the new Adam, Raymond Choi, because I think they said what's leaving Legends. Ray will leave Legends. And I think what happen when Legends start up. Okay, so he's gonna marry the actress who plays the actress who's married to in real life. She'll come back on the show and they'll ride off to the sunset and get married, and then he'll be off the show, and I'll be happy. And they really should cast Brandon Routh as Superman, the new Superman show. Again, my opinion about that. It's never gonna happen, but that's what I want. Okay, and I think that's it. Okay, like I said, this was it was uneven, these 3 parts. I think that if I was to rate them, it would be episode 2 first. That would be the best one, I think. Episode 2. I'm gonna go episode 3, even though it's sort of rushed, just because we got introduced to Black Lightning, and I like the actor who plays Black Lightning, and I thought his moments with Barry were really good. And then episode 1. Okay, that's how I'd rank them. Episode 2 was the best one, I think, out of all of them. And then because we got to see Superman and the Superman fight, and got to see Batman, Kevin Conroy. So I think that one actually played out a little bit more slower, so you can actually see the thing going on. And then we got the reveal of Anti-Monitor, and then we got Tom Welling. So we got a lot of things in that. So I think that's why part 2 I think was the best one. Part 2, then part 3, then even though it was kind of rushed, because we got to see 90s Barry actually sacrifice himself, introduction of Black Lightning. I thought it was good, and then of course Oliver becoming the Spectre, which I think he's going to play a big part in the 3rd part. So he's going to probably be with the Paragons and actually be the Spectre. Okay, so I thought it was cool. And then of course part 1. Okay, so that's it. Anyway, let me know what you think. Which was the best parts to you of this Arrowverse, of this Crisis, and what are you looking forward to in parts 4 and 5? Do you agree with me about Brandon Routh becoming the real Superman? What do you think about that? Okay, and feel free to leave other comments down below. I have links to my social media in the description box: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel, Broad Views and Opinions. You check that out as well. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.